Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today, we'll talk about James Webb's first ever real image of the structures at the edge of the universe. This discovery will for sure lead the scientists to make a new hypothesis on what lies in this never-ending universe. So, let's get started. Using the James Webb Space Telescope, astronomers went back to the beginning of the universe and found something they didn't expect. 6 huge galaxies that appeared between 500 million and 700 million years after the Big Bang were found by a space observatory. According to a new study that came out on Wednesday in the journal Nature, this discovery completely changes what people thought about how galaxies were made. In a statement, Joel Leja, an assistant professor of astronomy and astrophysics at Penn State University and one of the researchers, said, "These objects are way more massive than anyone expected. At this point in time, we thought we'd only find tiny, young galaxies, but we've found galaxies as old as ours in what we thought was the beginning of the universe." The telescope looks at the universe in infrared light, which is invisible to the human eye. It can see dim light from old stars and galaxies. By looking out into the faraway space, the observatory can see back in time up to about 13.5 billion years. Scientists think that the universe has been around for 13.7 billion years. Leja said the fact that huge numbers of galaxies formed very early in the history of the universe goes against what many of us thought was settled science. We've been calling these things universe breakers in jest, and so far, they've lived up to their name. The galaxies are so big that they go against 99% of models of how early galaxies in the universe should have looked. This means that scientists need to rethink how galaxies start and change over time. According to what we know now, galaxies started out as small clouds of stars and dust that grew over time. We looked into the very early universe for the first time, and we had no idea what we were going to find, Leja said. It turns out that we found something so unexpected that it causes problems for science. It throws the whole picture of how galaxies formed in the past into question. When the Webb data and the first high-resolution photos taken by the telescope were made public in July, Leja and his peers started to look at them. The galaxies looked like huge points of light, and the team was shocked to see them. In fact, they were so shocked that they thought they had misread the data. As soon as we got the data, everyone dove right in, and these huge things became clear very quickly, Leja said. We started making models and trying to figure out what they were because they were so big and bright. My first thought was that we had made a mistake and would find out soon enough. Even though we've tried hard, we haven't been able to find that mistake yet. Leja says that taking a spectrum photograph of the galaxies, which involves splitting light into different wavelengths to find different elements and guess how far away the galaxies really are, is one way to figure out how the galaxies grew so quickly. With the information from spectroscopy, we can learn more about the galaxies and how big they are. A spectrum will immediately tell us whether or not these things are real, Leja said. It will show us how big they are, how far away they are. What's funny is we have all these things we hope to learn from James Webb, and this was nowhere near the top of the list. We found something we never thought to ask the universe, and it happened way faster than I thought. But here we are. There's also a chance that the galaxies found by Webb data are something else entirely. Before the James Webb Telescope, only a few old galaxies were thought to exist. Now, the James Webb Telescope has shown that there are hundreds of them. A new study says that even 600 million years after the Big Bang, these very young galaxies already had complex patterns and groups of new stars. The research is part of the JWST Advanced Deep Extragalactic Survey, or JADES, a worldwide collaboration that looked at 2 tiny areas of the sky for a month. One in the constellation Ursa Minor and the other in the direction of the Fornax cluster. Over 700 newly found galaxies in this area show what the universe looked like when it was first starting out. If you shrunk the whole universe down to a 2-hour movie, you'd only see the first 5 minutes. Kevin Hainline, an assistant research professor at Arizona's Stewart Observatory and the lead author of the new study, said on June 5th at the 242nd meeting of the American Astronomical Society in Albuquerque and online. "We are looking at these galaxies right now because they are the ones that are starting to make the elements and complexity that we see in the world around us." In just 5 minutes, scientists were able to figure out that the universe is anywhere from 370 million to 650 million years old. When Hainline and his colleagues looked at the information that Webb had gathered, they found 717 young galaxies. This is a lot more than anyone had thought before. Each of these galaxies is already thousands of light years across, has a complicated structure, and is making new stars in many groups at the same time. When scientists first looked at galaxies, all they saw were smudges far away. However, those smudges represent millions, if not billions, of stars that were there at the beginning of the universe, Hainline said in a statement. "Now that we've gotten a closer look at some of them, we can see that some of them are actually long objects with structures that can be seen. What we were seeing before were just the brightest, most extreme examples of bright galaxies in the early universe," Hainline said during his presentation on Monday. "Now, we are really looking at more common galaxies in a universe that is very young and has a lot of chaos." Over the years, there has been a lot of talk about how that chaotic and dusty world turned into the clear universe we see today. This time in the history of the universe is called the Epoch of Reionization. It is thought to have happened about 400,000 years after the Big Bang. This is when the first stars, which are thought to be 30 to 300 times the mass of our Sun and millions of times brighter, formed and gave the dark universe its first light. This time period is also called the Epoch of Reionization. This UV starlight reionized the universe by splitting the many hydrogen atoms in the universe into protons and electrons. This process went on for 1 billion years after the Big Bang. It was what revolutionized the world. But some scientists think that outflows from supermassive black holes, like the one at the center of our Milky Way galaxy, could have caused ultraviolet radiation to escape from galaxies. This would mean that supermassive black holes played a bigger role in the evolution of the universe than was thought before. Hopefully, James Webb will capture more and more clear images, and we'll get to know more about these structures present at the edge of the universe. And that's all for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and comment down your thoughts on this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.